Κυρίες και κύριοι, καλησπέρα σας. 93 χρόνια έχουν περάσει από τη μικρασιατική καταστροφή. Μέσα σε αυτό το διάστημα πολλά γράφτηκαν και ακόμα περισσότερα ελέγχθησαν για το ξεριζωμό των Ελλήνων από τη Σμύρνη και τις άλλες αλυσμόνητες πατρίδες των παραλίων της Ιωνίας. Σήμερα, στο New Greek TV, ξανανοίγουμε το φάκελο της μικρασιατικής καταστροφής. Επισκεπτόμαστε τη Μασαχουσέτη, όπου θα συναντήσουμε τον καθηγητή δημοσιογραφίας του Πανεπιστημίου της Βοστόνης, Lou Ureneck. Ο κ. Ureneck είναι ο συγγραφέας της Μεγάλης Φωτιάς, ενός καινούριου ιστορικού δράματος που φιλοδοξεί να ρίξει φως στο σκοτεινό διπλωματικό παρασκήνιο και τις άγνωστες πτυχές που σφράγισαν τη μεγαλύτερη τραγωδία του σύγχρονου ελληνισμού. Μέσα από τις παραστατικές αφηγήσεις των σελίδων της Μεγάλης Φωτιάς, ταξιδεύουμε πίσω στο χρόνο και παίρνουμε μια γεύση των τελευταίων δραματικών στιγμών που έγραψαν τον αιματοβαμμένο επίλογο της ιστορίας του μικρασιατικού ελληνισμού.
Smyrna was the final violent episode in a 10-year religious cleansing, a genocide that killed 3 million people. Rape and murder. People were pulled into the street, they were killed, shot, knifed, bayoneted, men, women, and children. This slaughter soon spread generally around the city, across the city of Smyrna. It moved into the Greek quarter, and soon there was no safe place for a Christian inside Smyrna. On Wednesday, September 13, the Turkish army set fire to the city. People left their homes to save their lives. And very soon, by about midnight, we had this situation where hundreds of thousands of people, really an entire city of people, is caught on a very narrow promenade, the so-called K at Smyrna. So you can just imagine how hot the fire was for the human beings there. Women were wetting the blankets and putting them on their babies so that they wouldn't roast. People were jumping into the harbor to avoid being burned to death. They drowned, they were in heavy clothes, many didn't know how to swim. The water pipes had melted, so water was very difficult to get. And the sanitary conditions, as you can just imagine, were just awful. And as a consequence, disease broke out, dysentery, typhus. It was one of the worst humanitarian disasters in history up until that point in time.
Όπως μπορείτε να αντιληφθείτε, η κατάσταση ήταν παραπάνω από δραματική. Ο χρόνος κυλούσε αντίστροφα, σχέδιο εκένωσης όμως δεν υπήρχε. Εγκαταλειμμένοι από τη μητέρα πατρίδα και προδομένοι από τους συμμάχους, οι πρόσφυγες είχαν αφαιθεί στη μοίρα τους, καρτερώντας υπομονετικά το μαρτυρικό τους τέλος. Την ίδια ώρα που η ελληνική κυβέρνηση κατέρεε κάτω από το βάρος της εθνικής συμφοράς και τα μεγάλα συμφέροντα σφράγιζαν τις πόρτες των διπλωματικών σαλονιών σε Ευρώπη και Ουάσιγκτον, ένας άντρας στεκόταν στην προκυμαία της Σμύρνης, ατενίζοντας το πέλαγος. Ένας ταπεινός ιερέας από τη Νέα Υόρκη που άκουγε στο όνομα Asa Jennings, είπε πως βλέποντας τη θάλασσα αισθάνθηκε το χέρι του Θεού να κουμπά τον ώμο του. Ήταν αυτό το χέρι που τον έσπρωξε μέσα στο χάος και τον παραλογισμό της στιγμής, προκειμένου να αναμετρηθεί με την πρόκληση της ιστορίας και να αλλάξει τη ροή των γεγονότων. Πάμε λοιπόν να ταξιδέψουμε σε μια από τις πιο εντυπωσιακές, αλλά και συνάμα άγνωστες περιπέτειες διάσωσης, την οποία είχαμε λησμονήσει για πολλά χρόνια μέσα στις φλόγες της ιστορίας.
It's an extraordinary story. I think of it as one of the great rescue stories in history that hardly anybody knows about. The fire burned, as I say, for just over 3 days. And when it was over, it was a hopeless and helpless situation. What to be done? There seemed to be nothing that could be done, though it became clear as this suffering just kept grinding on that there was no answer except for the Christians, the Greeks and the Armenians, to leave Smyrna, but there were no ships. On the morning of the 20th, Asa Jennings steps out of one of the safe houses and he sees distantly in the harbor an Italian freighter. He goes to the senior naval officer, the American senior naval officer, a destroyer commander, and says, "Can I have a boat and a sailor to take me out to that freighter?" That officer's name was Halsey Powell. He becomes important to the story as well. He becomes a second hero. Powell says yes, Jennings goes out, and the freighter captain agrees to remove 2,000 people. They go to Mytilene. and unload. In the middle of the night, they unload the refugees. And while he's there, Jennings sees all of these empty Greek merchant vessels. And he thinks, if I can get possession of some of these ships, and even more miraculously, if we can find a way to have the Turkish military let us load refugees onto these ships, we can save a lot of lives. He had to think of a way to get them. They weren't just going to be given to him. So he needed a plan, and he needed a strategy, and he did some things that we don't typically associate with a Methodist priest. Working with Theophanides, he told a few outright lies in the service of saving lives, and in a sense, he extorted a foreign government. Pal negotiates an agreement, but the Turkish army tells Pal, you have only 7 days to remove all of these people. Of course, that's an impossibility. Hundreds of thousands of people, no logistical support, infrastructure, and so forth. He was told, if you don't remove them, we're going to march them into the interior. Well, of course, that was a code phrase for killing them. On September 24, just picture this scene. A line of unflagged, empty freighters, led by and escorted an American warship, a destroyer, the USS Lawrence, comes into Smyrna Harbor. People, hundreds of thousands of people, are literally on their knees at the edge of the quay praying for rescue. They see these ships and a big cheer goes up. They know they've been rescued. They did a miracle, really. There are millions of people alive today because those 250,000 people, the Christians of Smyrna, were removed by Asa Jennings and Halsey Pell.
Η έκδοση της Μεγάλης Φωτιάς έρχεται σε μια κρίσιμη χρονική συγκυρία. Ενώ εδώ στις ΗΠΑ συνεχίζεται το debate για την αναγνώριση της γενοκτονίας των Αρμενίων, ο Αμερικάνος καθηγητής πιστεύει ότι η Ελλάδα δεν ανακοινεί το θέμα όσο δυναμικά θα έπρεπε. Μάλιστα δεν διστάζει να πάρει θέση και για το ζήτημα των σχολικών βιβλίων, απαντώντας στις αιτιάσεις της κυρίας Μαρίας Ρεπούση περί εθνικιστικού μπλοκ.
Genocide that did take place against the Armenian people. It is one of these situations where we have seen a constant denial on the part of the Turkish government and others that this occurred.
Obama knows that a genocide occurred. We know that because he said so when he was a candidate for president. He's aware of the historical facts. So why has he chosen not to use the genocide word? Well, I can only speculate, and I speculate that he is making a kind of calculation here. And his calculus is that Turkey is a member of NATO. The United States and Western Europe needs Turkey in order to battle Islamic militants, radicals, ISIL so-called, in Syria. And so he has elected to keep Turkey on board, so to speak, by not using that term. But I think that all people who care about justice need to participate in the remembering of the Christian genocide in Turkey in those years, just as we need to remember and respect the Jewish Holocaust and other Holocausts. It's a basic respect for the people who died. There was a kind of deliberate forgetting, I think, that happened in Greece immediately after this as a matter of ideology and government policy. There are many ways to do history. The way that I preferred to do it, and the way I sought to do it for this book, is through the experiences of real people. People suffer one person at a time. People die one person at a time. People make difficult decisions one person and one moment at a time.
Η εφημερίδα Real News σε σημερινό της δημοσίευμα καταγράφει τη γρήγορη ανάβαση στα σκαλιά της ακαδημαϊκής κοινότητας της γυναίκας που έγραψε ιστορία με τις προκλητικές της δηλώσεις. Μετά μάλιστα τη συγγραφή του βιβλίου Ιστορίας της 6ης Δημοτικού, όπου χαρακτήρισε συνοστισμό τη μικρασιατική καταστροφή.
Η γιαγιά μου δεν συνοστίστηκε προφανώς, διότι στο ένα της χέρι κρατούσε ό,τι πρόλαβε να μαζέψει ένα μπόγο με τα χρειώδη και στο άλλο της χέρι είχε αγκαλιά τη μάνα μου που ήταν μωρό στα Σπάργανα. Δεν τη λαμβάνω υπόψη, ούτε τη θεωρώ ότι είναι σοβαρή ως προς αυτά που λέει και σοβαρή καθηγήτρια.
So we need to know what happened at Smyrna, and it's not a nationalistic exercise. If there was suffering and if there was brutality, it needs to be told. So I believe in a full and open report in the textbooks, notebooks, wherever, about what happened at Smyrna. It doesn't make sense to me, from my perspective, as an academic and as a writer, to erase history.
Πολλές οι απορίες, πολλά τα διευκρίνηστα σημεία, αλλά ίσως ακόμα περισσότερα τα μαθήματα που μπορούμε να διδαχτούμε από τη τραγωδία της Μεγάλης Φωτιάς. Οι μεγάλες δυνάμεις και ο κόσμος αποφάσισαν να κλείσουν τα μάτια στη θέα της κατεστραμμένης Σμύρνης. Σε μια περίοδο όμως που ο θρησκευτικός φανατισμός και η βία εναντίον των χριστιανών αναζωπυρώνεται στη Μέση Ανατολή, η ιστορική λύθη δεν είναι ίσως ο καλύτερος σύμβουλος για να αντιμετωπίσουμε τις προκλήσεις του παρόντος.
Many more people died than were rescued, and we can't forget those who died, and we need to remember those who died, and we need to commemorate their deaths and their suffering. But it's also worth remembering that there was this ray of light. Of course, there are many lessons that we can take from Smyrna. It was such a big and tragic event. But one of the most important lessons that I personally take away is the inspirational lesson of Asa Jennings. Here's one person, handicapped, really, crippled, who overcame personal obstacles in an absolutely impossible situation to save the lives of so many people. And it teaches us, it reminds us that one person can make a difference in history.